we need to talk about something. We need to talk about how the internet loves fear, and nothing spreads faster than a scary health claim. Lately, there's been one that's all over my feed. Birth control is a class 1 carcinogen. Sounds terrifying, right? Like, why would anyone take something labeled like that? Well, here's the thing. The phrase is being taken completely out of context. Now, my friends, before you start panicking or throwing out any pills, let's really look at what this label means. I'm gonna pass it to my girl Karen, who's got the real facts for you, and trust me, it's not as scary as it sounds.
So here's the truth behind the scary sounding but misleading story. When people say birth control is a group 1 carcinogen, they're talking about the International Agency for Research on Cancer's 2005 classification of combined estrogen-progesterone methods, including the combined hormonal pill, the transdermal patch, and the vaginal ring, as group 1. But here's where this information becomes misinterpreted. Group 1 doesn't mean it's the most dangerous. The classification is about the strength of evidence. It simply means there's scientific proof that something can cause cancer in humans, not that it will or that it's equally risky for everyone. To put that in perspective, this list also includes things like processed meat, alcohol, and sunlight. What matters most is how much, how often, and in what context you're exposed. For example, taking a short walk in the sun is unlikely to cause cancer, but prolonged sun exposure without protection can. In the case of birth control, the benefits and regulated doses are carefully studied to keep those risks low. So what does the evidence-based research say about birth control and cancer risk? The short version is, combined hormonal birth control can result in small, temporary increases of certain cancers and significant long-lasting protection against other types of cancer. Let's break it down. The combined pill is linked to a small relative increase in breast cancer risk, about 20% above your baseline risk while you're using it. This does not mean a 20% chance of getting cancer. It means that your already small baseline risk becomes slightly higher. For past users, the increase is about 7%, and this small rise returns to normal within roughly 10 years after stopping. For cervical cancer, the main cause is actually HPV, a virus, not birth control. That's why regular pap smears and getting the HPV vaccine are your best protection. Use of the combined pill can slightly increase risk, especially with longer use, but that risk also decreases after you stop. Now here's some additional good news. There's also a strong protective side to combined hormonal contraception. These methods significantly lower your risk of endometrial cancer by at least 30%. They also cut ovarian cancer risk by 30 to 50%, and that protection lasts for decades. Plus, they reduce colorectal cancer risk by 15 to 20%. So the bottom line is, there are small time-limited increases for some cancers and real long-lasting decreases for others. The big picture matters more than any one statistic or scary story.
Okay, so what exactly does this mean for you? Birth control is safe. As Karen just laid out, birth control is widely considered safe to use. This myth that birth control will cause cancer has the potential to be very harmful, especially when considering the large variety of uses for hormonal birth control. For young people, squashing this myth is incredibly important. With the right tools to spot misinformation, we can be both more effective advocates and be better informed to make decisions for our own body. Cool. But how can we fight back against misinformation like this? First, understand why it spreads. Misinformation goes viral because it's emotional, easy to believe, and often contains a kernel of truth taken out of context. It's designed to make you react emotionally, not think critically. When you encounter misleading claims, use facts to fight back. I know that fighting misinformation sounds like a lofty task, but it's really doable. First and foremost, lead with compassion. Most people sharing misinformation aren't trying to cause harm, they're genuinely concerned. As such, it's important that we understand, not attack. Additionally, I implore you to bring up myths directly in conversation and use evidence-based research to point out the holes in this argument. Even further, you can add to this and talk about why your source is trustworthy. If we do this, we have the chance to stop this idea in its tracks. Don't fall for fear-based myths, know the facts, and use your voice to tell the truth.